to life.
He still takes the field? Yep. Love it. Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W's, so gotta be around the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checkered. You are fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby! Really proud of you, man. You drove your butt off tonight. We had the best car here, bud. Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job. Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend. What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft for another Sunday morning, bright and early. After being up really late, fighting with my AI for hours. Oh, but we might have a normal weekend doing this at some point without rain and either no practice and qualifying or no qualifying and practice and being on time and doing all those things. Let's can we get rid of the curse of something going wrong? It's been 2 weeks in a row now. All right. I'm ready for tonight. I'm ready for some racing. We've seen pretty good racing in both the O'Reilly and Truck Series. And congrats to Pope for winning a little bit of money in the Truck Series, even though we both gave some money back last night for the Xfinity race. That one kind of stung a little bit after having a decent amount of Jesse Love, and Jesse Love having not much love for his tire. But those happened because Friday ended up taking pretty big tournament down. So been a couple good weeks. Hopefully everyone else is doing well. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Memorial Day and their short work week as we get back to racing at Nashville. And I just hope the weather holds out and we can get this thing in nice and clean, and we can get the whole thing all the way through all 300 laps. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But either way, who will win the Nashville Showdown? My pick is Hamlin to win it. I think we're going to see some others that will come up and surprise us, but this is absolutely probably lined up really well for a Hamlin type of day, in my personal opinion, after looking at everything. But either way, let's go back and look at the almost Coke 600, where Daniel Suarez finally edged out and got the win. Very emotional win for Daniel. Super excited for him. It was actually a great race. I wish they could have gotten all 600 miles in. Lost Profit, what's up, buddy? You think Blaney wins? Once again, the Fords just look like they're struggling again. Especially the Penske's. I mean, Blaney seems to be the best of the Penske's, but the Penske's out of the gate did not look very good in practice. And Billy Man goes, Bell wins this one. All right. We got lots of differing opinions. I like it. I always like different thought processes. Yeah, Bell had a really good shot last week. Denny had a really good shot, and Daniel said, yeah, I'll just take 2 tires. I'll go out and make that happen and win it. I mean, rain kind of helped him out a little bit, and lightning kind of helped him out a lot because Denny was on the move to take that win last week. But Mother Nature had other plans. But the optimal lineup from last week: Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and everyone's favorite Zane Smith. Yep, the group's favorite underdog, Zane Smith, comes in with a optimal lineup and a top 10 finish. Other drivers almost making it. Tyler Reddick with 83.4 points. The reason why he didn't make the optimal lineup is because it just didn't fit right. And Christopher Bell outscored him. And so did Denny Hamlin. So he was the third highest of the expensive drivers. So there's that. The optimal lineup challenge after 13 races, Ty Gibbs still up top, but Denny Hamlin coming on strong with being one race out. Tyler Reddick with 5, Brad Keselowski with 5, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, and SVG with 4. We've only been to 2 road courses. How about that? All right, that's our optimal lineup challenge. That is last week's. This week we head to Nashville Super Speedway for the Cracker Barrel 400. 400 miles, 300 laps, 3 stages, 90, 95, and 115. I like the nice lengthy stages. We will definitely see a either green flag pit stop or pit stop somewhere in around 40 to 50 laps. Which honestly, I'd almost wish they'd made the first stage 60 or something or 70 because people would have tried to push it and get through the first stage. You can make the first stage, I think, on fuel. I'm not 100% sure, but the thing we didn't see in practice was at about lap 60, the speeds didn't fall off a whole lot, but the tires started to really cord at about lap 60. So you're going to have to stop at some point in that first stage and second stage. Third stage, you could probably split it also into 2. So I think definitely 1 pit stop in stage 1, 1 pit in stage 2. And this is all, if we had strictly just green flag racing the entire time, I guess it's always possible. But I think this is lining up to be a lot like Dover, to be perfectly honest. Tire wear, all of the comments, concrete track, all those types of things. But this is Nashville, and comparison tracks to Nashville, Dover's definitely right there with it. Darlington, high tire wear, very similar. Similar banking, well, not really. The banking in Nashville is 14 degrees, Darlington's 25. But the tire wear is going to be pretty significant at Nashville. Length is about the same, 300 laps compared to 293. High tire wear, a little tough to pass at times. And Iowa for the banking, it kind of gives a feel of a short track. So those are your comparison tracks to look at. And then our optimal lineups from the last 4 Nashville races. Before we get into that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you join the Discord. And make sure you go and check out the new racinginthedraft.com website. We've been busy this week. We have the website up and running and going and for everyone to use. Let's pull that up. Go to homepage. And here is racinginthedraft.com. Across the top, of course, you've got that. We've got stats, shows, blog, standings, and the famous Draftkings calculator that I use every week. Yes, it is there. It is there for you to use and change and manipulate and do whatever you want to it. Just once you're there, don't close it or leave it, or you'll have to start over. But we'll go into that. On the homepage, we've got our point standings, the shows that I kind of listen to and cover and give markdowns and breakdowns of everything. Past analysis. The stats page, you can go into here. You can pull drivers, and all of their stats for, let's see, Brad Keselowski, his best track is Iowa, his toughest track is Coda. 2026 points ranking is he's currently 11th in the points. In 2026, he has 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s after 13 races. Then you can come down here and look at which track is his best, which one's his worst. You can look at super speedways, intermediates, short tracks, road courses. Well, we don't do dirt anymore. You can just do the 2026 schedule only. So yeah, all sorts of fun, cool stuff there. Play with it. It's got lots of things. You can do head-to-heads. So Alex Bowman versus Bubba Wallace, and you can look at intermediates or short tracks where they rank their averages, things like that. So lots of cool, fun stuff in here. Play with it. Have fun with it. Give me some feedback on it. If there's anything that you are seeing that is not correct, wrong, needs to be fixed. It is still kind of, I guess, would call it beta, but it's still in its infancy and will just continue to get better. Then, of course, this is the homepage for all the shows. That was also down at the bottom of the homepage. And if you can either read the article, or you can read more. Oh, where'd it go? Still working on exactly everything, but you can also listen to it.
The Coca-Cola Almost 600 episode overview. Recorded on Memorial Day with the weight of a difficult weekend hanging over everyone, this episode of Action's Detrimental opens not with the race, but with the
So
loss
if you like
of
to listen to
Kyle
stuff
Busch.
in like podcast form and things like that, I've got it to where it's breaking it all down and audio form also. I don't know if you're able to like minimize or close or do whatever, but like I said, work in progress. And then our blog is the breakdown of last week's stuff. It's not just Action Detrimental, it's the full thing. And of course, here
Editorial
also
Charlotte 2026. The night the sport stopped breathing.
So lots of cool stuff here. And then what everybody's looking for, the Draftkings calculator. And what you'll do here, like I said, if you come and use this, please do. It's out here for everyone to use currently for free. At some point, maybe I put this behind a subscription base or something just to make a little bit of the money back. But I'm throwing it out there for right now. And if you are pretty much in, I'll keep the access there for the guys that get in early and help me with the build out. But what you'll do is you'll come over here, you'll click on Denny Hamlin. It's going to give the same track last 5. So this is the last almost 5 races at Nashville. It's the last 3 at Nashville, Dover, and Darlington, and the averages all into here. Then this is the last 5 trend, oval, normal oval only, no super speedways, no road courses, and their averages here. It takes the 2 of these averages and puts it into here along with this starting spot, and then the projected finish, the projected average, fast laps, laps led, and you can adjust and move these up and down however you want. So, and then you can see, okay, if he finishes 19th, how many points does he get? And those types of things. It has the optimal line already set, and this will change every week up here. And for the expensive drivers, $8,500 and up, they need to get to at least 60 points to be in the optimal. So once you get this done, you'll hit lock score. You can always come back and click to update, but this locks that score in. And as you can see, then comes here. We'll do a couple of these. Will you fix for mobile? I have not tried it to be on mobile. I told the AI to, when it was building all this out, the original webpage was not very mobile friendly. And I said, hey, this needs to be mobile friendly. So I And I don't know how the calculator will work on a mobile. That's probably going to take much more of, oh, it's working for you on mobile. Okay, awesome. Now I don't know about the download. So here's the key. As long as you stay on this page and work everything out, then you're fine. And before you leave, I'll show you here. We'll just do Tyler Reddick real quick. I'm just going to lock a couple of these in. We're not going to really mess with anything. We'll come back to do that. Once you get a few of these locked in, you can now go to rankings. This now ranks your highest to lowest on what you have for points. It'll tell you if it's optimal and then the top 15. And the top 15 is the top 15. That's my core group of drivers that I want to use when I'm building out everything. If it's, I can't remember. Let's see. Let's put Ryan Blaney and let's make him not in the top 15 or optimal. All right, so that clicked there. I guess because we don't have 15 in here, he would still be listed as 15. But either way, once you get done filling all this out, before you leave this page, if you click download CSV, it's going to download the CSV file. And that's just strictly a simple Excel format, which has the driver, the salary, where they're starting, their projected score, and whether or not you put them in as optimal or not. So then you can then have this to carry along when you go to build out your lineups. You know, if you always want to just keep this one out here, cool. Just remember, if we leave and we come back, it going. So before you leave, make sure you hit the rankings and the download, or it'll disappear on you. And I'm going to try to figure out a way, but right now, like I said, all of this on mobile view, on mobile, click view as desktop. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. It's good to know. But once again, I think if you leave, it may disappear on you. So, and you don't want to get all the way through 36 drivers and click on something and it disappears, because that would suck. And I'm the IT guy, and I wouldn't know how to tell you to get it back, because I don't think I can even get it back. But that's there. That's for everybody to use. It's at draftkings.com. You'll have fun. Give me some feedback. Make sure you join the Discord. That's probably the best way to let me know what you think about it, how it worked, if there's any weird idiosyncrasies that are happening with it, and those types of things. But we'll come back to this momentarily. Let's get back to the PowerPoint and the spreadsheet and all the stuff that we need to know. All right, so the optimal lineup from 2025, 2024, what we're looking for is that driver above $8,500. Realistically, probably needs to be more like 10,000. I need to kind of adjust the thought process here, but we'll stay with 8,500 as expensive drivers. Then once you get below 7,500, that's kind of the intermediate value, and then $6,500 or less absolutely is value. This has the last year's breakdowns, but Joey Logano 9,200 is the 48.85, and what we're looking for is this number to find out what the optimal lineup for the expensive drivers was. And once we do all those and we average them out, I put 60 in there because I think 60 gets you there. You have Tyler Reddick at 57.45, but Joey Logano a little bit cheaper, got to 77.2. So I think 60, if your driver that's expensive can get to 60, I think it's where you want and would need to be. And then from there, I think on the lower end, it changes a little bit. But these are the optimal lineups, where their starting spots were, what we're kind of looking for. So we're averaging, looks like, about one dominator per race. Ross Chastain led 99 laps in 2023. Denny Hamlin 114. No dominators in 24. And then Oh, the Matt just sent me a message. Yeah, if I could figure out how the approximate percentage of ownership in Draftkings and put that on that site would be pretty cool too. One step at a time. Little increments, but yeah, I'll try to get that on there. But yeah, so this kind of gives an indication on how many dominators we need, and it looks like we're probably averaging about one dominator per for the last 4 Nashville races. Place differential 3, 5, 2, 3. So we're probably looking at least 3 to 4 place differentials, and then probably looks like one guy to start up front, stay up front type of thing. Top 5 finishers 3, 2, 4, 4. So we look like we're about 3.5. And the values we're looking at about 3. So 2, 3, 3, 2. So the cheaper guys we're looking at about 2.5 to 3. Most of the time we are spending most of our money. 2024 we had $6,900 left. This also was the wacky, crazy, 7 restarts to end the race, and Joey Logano was the only one who had enough fuel at the end. Silly race. I mean, he only led 9 laps. So, all right, let's get into the driver breakdown here. This page was a nightmare last night. This is what caused me to be up till 2 in the morning, wanting to reach through my screen and beat the heck out of my AI. He just could not get this page correct, and we got it as close as I could get it. So I pretty much almost gave up on the AI and just finished it out myself. All right. Either way, Denny Hamlin. Where's his price? None of the prices are there? Come on. What did it do to me here? It doesn't have any of the prices. Mother. I swear to God, I'm going to kick his ass. All right. That's what I get for staying up too late. If I remember correctly, his price was $11,000. Let me see if I can pull that up somewhere. Oh, it's on the website. Use your website, Mark. Yeah, it's 11, 10. All right. Either way, we're going to go through them. These are chronologically freaking Claude. Yeah, no kidding. Freaking Claude. I mean, I also use Hermes. I also have ChatGPT, OpenAI. But Claude was the one that was building this out. Claude may get fired after last night, but I've put so much work and effort into it at this point, almost kind of wrapped in. But I may send everything to ChatGPT and see what it can come up with, or OpenAI, whatever you want to call it. Same company. All right. Either way, to the price, I'm not going to go back and fix it right now on the fly. Oh, Lost Profit entered the $444 contest. Oh, lordy. I actually won enough in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to probably give some back. I know I'm running in the $88 one, the $44 one, $33 one. Just running one lineup in each of those. So, I did run the 33 Xfinity last night, and I was running pretty well until Jesse Love. Well, actually, JJ Yeley hurt me worse than Jesse Love did, but oh, 444. Yeah, Lost Profit's not talking about that right now. That one was a little rough for Lost Profit. As his name says, Lost Profit. Different type of profit though. Okay, so the price tag came over to here. I swear to God. All right, either way, let's stay on this sheet for 1 second. So I moved a few things around so it's a little easier to figure out also. I used to have the Nashville, the 5 races up here. I've now moved it down into here, which I do like. So that works out a little better because this shows the last 5 races we're comparing to, where he's got 1 win, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. The win was the Dover All-Star race. He scored an average of 75 Draftkings points for those 5 races and a 6.0 average running position. His practice speeds yesterday in practice were 3rd on single lap. He did 50 laps of practice, and he was 7th in the 10-lap consecutive average. It's 10 consecutive laps without coming to pits for either tires or adjustments or whatever. The last race at the current track, which would be Nashville, he finished 3rd. And then his total history at Nashville is 5 starts, no wins, but 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 9.2 average finish for Denny Hamlin. And that is a full breakdown of this entire card. We will not do that for every race, so we'll be here for like 3 hours, and these videos are already long enough. Now, the practice speeds. Fastest single lap was Ross Chastain at a 29.824. The best 10-lap average was Ty Gibbs at a 30.014. The fall-off speed was really not significant at all. Like I said, the Ty Gibbs or Ross Chastain with a 29.8, and he falls off all the way to a 30.7 at the end. So not even a full second after 34 laps. I was hoping to see a little bit more. We have Denny Hamlin at a 29.8, and at the end, he kind of peaks out at a 30.61, so maybe a second of fall off. But the cording of that front right tire, and since yesterday's practice was a little bit later in the afternoon and it happened after a rain shower, I don't know. I was really surprised that there was not more fall off speed, but realistically, we didn't see a ton of fall off speed at Dover either early in the run. It really started to happen at about lap, 55, 60, and then by lap 70, they were just absolute junk. And the tires were absolutely corny and going away. So we're probably going to see that same type of thing here. The track is a little bit longer. Banking is a little bit different. It's not as banked, so that right front is going to get beat up a little bit more with the braking that goes into running at Nashville. Brakes will be a difference. I'm sure we'll probably see at least 1 or 2 exploding calipers this weekend. But the right front cording is going to be the issue for if we have a long green flag run. And I don't think the tires are going to make it much past 50, 55, 60. And then after that, I think that's when the times are really going to start to fall off. Yeah, the short run is definitely probably where the speed is at. So it's going to be, it's going to really be, because Denny Hamlin said that they showed wear, but they didn't show as much wear as a lot of the other drivers in practice. That were showing cording and things like that in nature. I think Ross Chastain ended up showing some cords after his 50, 55 laps, if I remember. I can't remember how many laps he did, but I know Ross was complaining about some cording happening, where Denny was like, it was worn, but they weren't showing cords yet. So either way, Denny Hamlin is in, I guess it's a green. Okay, I mean, he pops up this one lap, but that's okay. When you're trying to figure out what speed you can run and not run, is there somebody in the way and those types of things, it pops up, that's fine. Doesn't really do that a whole lot the rest, but he's pretty consistent all the way throughout. I mean, there is some fall off, which is good. I was hoping that we might see a little bit more, and maybe when we have all the cars out on the track all at the same time, because we had kind of a mixed bag yesterday for practice. It was a 45-minute one practice, everybody was out there, but they only had realistically one set of tires that they could use, because they could hold back the other set for the actual race. So most of them opted to just use their one set. So they weren't all out there for the entire time. So we have some differing, Connor Zilich and Riley Herbst were one of the first ones out of the gate in running. They were on the green track. They were the first ones to put rubber down. They had faster times. But then somebody like I'm trying to think who came out late. Brian Blaney came out a little bit later. I know Joe Logano came out later, but he was just garbage to start with. It was bad. I'm trying to remember who else came out late. But either way, they weren't running the entire 45 minutes. They were running about 20, 25 minutes at max. So we didn't have a full field out on the track at one time. So the track will take rubber differently. The temperature is going to be a little bit hotter if they don't get rain. And that's just a big what if because it's all pop-up speed. I'll pop-up things. Let me catch up on some of these chats real quick. Fanny Man says, Mark and I were swapping first place in the Chrome Horn until Briscoe crashed. Yep. It was a solo lineup too, I believe. In the Chrome Horn, no, I had 20 lineups in. I always run 20 in the Chrome Horn. But it was one of my hand builds. So I have two different spreadsheets when I build everything out on a weekly basis, at least for the Cup Series. I have one that's kind of predetermined that I guess I said it a long time ago, and it just has always worked where I'm running, 50% of one driver, and I've got it spread out through 40 lineups. And then my second favorite driver, I've got it out about like 15 of the 40 lineups. And then I just kind of piecemeal all those together, and they're just there, and it's set. And then I leave always one blank in that spreadsheet here. I can pull that up real quick. Show you what I do. Lineup builder. I've shown this before on here. Yeah, so here was my Charlotte one. So literally I just, you can see Kyle. So Denny Hamlin was my number one pick last week. If I take him off, he disappears from those. And if we put him back on, he goes in and fills in those out. And I've got them all the way through. So then I just copy and paste this over to my normal spreadsheet. But I just kind of have it listed out, here's my number one driver. And I kind of space them out for pricing. And then it just kind of fills in the blanks over here. So it's kind of like an optimizer in a way, but it's more of a hand-built optimizer. And, what it does is, Denny Hamlin was my number one driver, and I can come down here. Well, it doesn't have it. Either way, I think you kind of get the gist of what happens. And then I take that from there. I then move it to this spreadsheet. And then I just copy and paste, and then I fill out the rest. And that's how I build my lineups. And then down here, when I'm ready to dump into DraftKings, I can just take, whatever set, since it's 20 drivers, I'll take this, I'll put it into the CSV file, and then upload that to DraftKings. So that's kind of how I build it. And then also no duplicate. Yeah, I don't ever. I try very hard not to run duplicates. It does happen between the two spreadsheets that I'll get one that I'll duplicate. That's on my project list, is to have my have the AI go and review my spreadsheet where all my lineups, make sure I don't have any duplicates. I don't necessarily want it to build my lineups for me, because that's something I actually enjoy to do. I know some people like to do the 150 and they just go, okay, I want these, and you just go let the computer run it and put it in and forget it. I actually enjoy the process of building it out by hand, or somewhat by hand. But maybe at some point I'll have something like that on the website. We'll see. Little things, incremental little changes. We'll get there eventually. All right, Tyler Reddick starting second. He was fifth in single lap, third in 10 lap. I mean, Tyler Reddick and Toyota continue their march of dominance this year, to say the least. And did not expect anything different for this weekend either. Yeah, not much. I mean, the little changes that happen, Toyota just continues to stay on top here. And not sure if everybody saw the news. Corey Heim into the 35 for next year for 2311. Unsure where that puts Riley Herbst. Doing the 150 is a lot of fun too, playing with percentage. Yeah. I mean, I run 80 lineup. I run all 80 of my lineups in the 150 the 150 entries, but I only run 80. I don't do the 150. If I did the 150, I would probably have to go find an optimizer and have it do it. My Claude has made one for me, and I just don't really love it. I know that Daniel, I haven't seen Daniel on here yet. I think he said he may have had stuff going on, but I know Daniel was playing around with Claude and had him build one for either his baseball or his golf, but he was working on one for NASCAR too. So maybe if Daniel gets that done, maybe we'll put it in there, or he paid for it, so I can't tell him. I don't know what he's going to do with it, but he might share it with some of us. He might not. I don't know. I mean, you can always go get your own Claude and tell it to build it out. It's actually kind of fun to learn, and I think it's. Yes, I know AI has got this. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people don't like the data centers, all the different things that go on with AI. The one thing I can say about it is it's coming, and it doesn't matter what you think about it. We've already passed the prefaces. It's coming. It's going to be here. It's one of those, if you thought the horse and buggy was the only way, you would never drive around in this car, guess what? You're still running around on a horse and buggy while everybody else is driving 80 miles an hour on the highway. Does it still work? Yeah. Does it take you forever to get there? Yeah, so there's two different things. There's two different thought process. There's two different AIs, realistically. You have just your regular Google search AI. So I'll bring up Claude real quick. So here's my Claude. Let me center this into the screen. So this is Claude. You've got chat, co-work, and code. So chat, this is what pretty much most people think of as AI. It's like, I don't know, let's ask it, who is on the pole for the Indy race today? And it does its little search and searches the webs and comes on one thing, the flag, Indy 500. Oh, so it tells me the Indy 500. No, the race is in Detroit, I think. You're thinking of IndyCar. Yes, Detroit Grand Prix. It's happening this weekend. Pole sitter Alex Palou, and it gives you all the stats. This is what normal AI for normal people who do stuff. So co-work, on the other hand, co-work is you actually work with Claude to build things, and this was, so this is where it was building out the calculator the first time around. I have a separate computer that I use different than this one for most of my NASCAR stuff, and I just transfer over to this one because this is actually my racing rig. I try not to put too much on here because I want to use it strictly mostly for iRacing, and the graphics, and I've got everything set just the way I like it. I do the videos over here because I was doing a little bit of streaming while I was doing my racing, but that kind of fell off. And then you've got Claude Code, and Claude Code will actually go out and code and build SaaS tools, which is, like PowerPoints and all that type of stuff. But Cowork can, let's see. I haven't done much on this one. Let me see. There was a place, settings, then capabilities, connectors. So customize your connector. So you can get it where it is connected to your Gmail, your calendar, and stuff like that. Okay, people have seen that before. Browse plugins. So this is where it becomes really kind of interesting, is you can then look at all the different things it can do. I don't know why it's not looking quite right, but it'll do PDF viewers, Adobe, and it's just got all these different things that it can connect to utilize and use. You just kind of have to. Oh, okay, here it is. So you can have it connect to Microsoft 365. You can have it connect to Canva, Gmail, Notion, Slack, if anybody uses Slack. And it just kind of goes through Spotify. But it can connect to all of these things and use API tools and use some of the back end stuff to help you build out things and go, legal data hunter. This is where the regular chat can use this, but Cowork is really what pushes this stuff over the edge. So yeah, no, be careful. Yes, absolutely. But also be very aware that it is not cheap. Yeah, not cheap. I think last night with all the debacles and everything else, I think it ended up costing me about $80 to get this put out. Now, that was because we ran into some serious issue and I had to use a lot of coding and a lot of tokens. And then for some reason, the token window got massively large and was eating through tokens like crazy. There is a whole world and gamut of AI and learning terminologies and pricing and all of that type of stuff, which maybe I'll do another video at some point, other time, that revolves around more of the AI stuff. But I am not an AI expert by any means. It's the reason why I sometimes really screw it up, and when I screw it up, it can get really expensive. But it's also a learning process. I've got my son's 15 years old. I don't expect a 15-year-old to know what they're going to do for the rest of their life, but I can tell you right now, whatever he's going to do, AI will be evolved into whatever he decides to do. I don't care if you're doing, I know that Family Man does HVAC work. AI will absolutely come into play in that business. Not saying it's going to take over. If utilized and done correctly, it will enhance the business. It'll make his job faster and easier. The troubleshooting will become faster and easier. The problem is I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time when it comes to AI. I've got enough knowledge to get myself into real deep trouble. Not really, but to make my life a real headache. But when I started this journey 3 months ago, or back in March, I thought it was a pipe dream that I would ever get to where it was doing all the stuff that it's doing. And it's just exponential. And you can go down a rabbit hole that you become sucked into it almost as bad as building out for sports and those types of things. Now that I've integrated both of them, it's become even more fun. But so go into if money's always an issue. I don't care if you're Elon Musk or you're me. Money's always something you always think about when you're doing it. So on the rough end, I think I'm probably over the 3 to 4 months I've been doing it, not including the new computer I bought to run stuff. Just AI token usage. I'm probably 600, no, probably closer to 700 into the investment. And it's great because if everything had gone off correctly and this PowerPoint was set and done, I literally could have come in, clicked 2 buttons, checked everything, and it would have had this whole entire thing built out in 20 minutes. Tim says, yeah, I can do some maintenance on computers at the shop without even going to a customer's house. I can see readings. Yeah, it's on the back end. So I can't remember, man, do you work for somebody else or do you have your own, or you think about getting in your own? So the thing that somebody like man who does HVAC work, if he ever decides he's going to go into business on his own, by the time that happens, the AIs are going to get so much smarter on the payroll, taxes, legals, forms, and all that. He will be able to literally run, if he learns it, would be able to run his entire with office, billing, and those types of things through AI. And all he would have to do is each day just check the work that the AI has done or that he's built out, and go, yep, all that looks good, submit, go, and he's back on the road. He's back fixing whatever compressor thingamajig with HVAC. Same thing with mechanics and tooling and CNC machines. So all those will still need the touch of a human. That's not going away. The thing is, if people refuse to learn what AI is and what it can do to help benefit them, they're going to be riding around in a horse and buggy while everyone else is driving 80 miles an hour down the highway in a car. It's the same thing that people way back in the day were like, that's dumb. I'm not going to watch my videos on my phone. I'm going to watch it on my VCR on my TV. Well, guess what, Blockbuster? You had the chance to buy Netflix. Well, where's Blockbuster now? It's evolve or get eaten is pretty much what it is. And this is going to happen. It's going to happen exceptionally fast. And the myth about water, oh my God, if I hear anybody else go, it eats all the water, it's going to use all the water. Doesn't. Right now, currently, the data consumption, not AI, data consumption with data centers uses less than 1% of the entire usage in America. Less than 1% currently. They estimate by 2030 it will use maybe 2% of all of the water usage in this country. Water's not the issue. Water's not the issue. Power will be the issue. Now, there's an easy solution to that. They need to build their own power generation plants, and that solves that. Now, there is a little bit of a noise pollution, so make sure you put the damn data center out in the middle of nowhere and call it a day. You can run whatever fiber optic cables. They're making so much money they can do that. So it's absolutely. Benjamin says I could do maintenance on a system in Virginia, down in South Mississippi. Pretty incredible. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things about AI, and it's one of those. It just starts small. Yeah, everybody figured it out. They're like, oh, AI, I use AI all the time. I chat with it. You haven't even scratched the surface if all you're doing is chatting with it, because it is wild, what it actually has capabilities of doing. Like I said, almost to a point where it's troubling. All right, back to NASCAR. We went off the deep end there. I always do this. I go off the deep end on little stuff. But Tyler Reddick starting in second, outside pole. Lost Provinces, I'm a fiber optic splicer. I'll spice. Wow, that's actually really cool. I've always wondered how does fiber optic actually get spliced? And I've always meant to go look at a YouTube video to see it. I'm sure it's there. I'm sure, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But that's pretty cool. Nice. I like that. But Tyler Reddick, practice 5th. He only did 42 laps, 3rd on 10 laps. So good, solid speed. Like I said, Joe Gibbs 2311 cars, they are not messing around this year. At Nashville / the 5 tracks we're comparing to, he has 1 win. That was at Darlington earlier this year. But for those 5 races, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s. Nashville last year, he finished 9th, 5 total starts here at Nashville. He only has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. Nashville's not one of his better tracks. And if you're ever wondering, you can go look on my website. It tells you what Tyler Reddick's best tracks and worst tracks are. And it actually breaks them all down. Oh God, you guys are talking about fusion splicing and welding glass, basically. Okay, I'll catch up on that in a little bit. I can't get distracted by that right now. All right, Tyler Reddick's practice speeds. Like I said, I mean they're good. They're top 10 good. And he starts off very, very fast in the very beginning. Does seem like he fell off a little bit at about lap 20. And I think they may have come in and made some adjustments, and he went back out and seemed to be doing better. I don't know if he put a second set of tires on. That's the only thing you really can't really tell. But, I mean, all in all, I think Tyler Reddick has top 10 speed. Oh, we forgot to fill out our little calculator. Spend all that time building this thing. All right, so yes, I absolutely think Denny Hamlin definitely goes out. I think he definitely leads, what did I say, the first. We have 90 laps in the first one. I think they run to at least lap 45. And because he's sitting on the pole, I think he has the potential to lead, 70 laps. That's where I'm going to put it at. And the fast laps will go 2 for 1. So 70 would be 35. We'll stay there. And, I think it's at least a top 3 finish. So 74.3, we needed 60 to get to the threshold. I like it. I'm locking him in. Tyler Reddick, next in line here. We just talked about him. He qualified in 2nd. The 5 tracks we're comparing to, because it's got Darlington in there, it's got some laps led and it's got some average fast laps. We'll let him have some laps led in case he happens to jump Denny on one of the restarts, especially at the beginning. I still think Denny comes back and takes that back over. So we'll kind of stay with his average of, 45 and 22. We'll give him 35. And then fast laps, we'll go 2 for 1 again. So 18's fine. And, he's been consistently running top 10s. We'll give him a 6, qualified in 2nd. Well, it's a 54.9. It's not the 60-point threshold we want. And honestly, I will have some Tyler Reddick, but I'm not going to be in the 40-50% on Tyler Reddick. I'll probably be in the 20% on Tyler Reddick. It's more just to cover if something happens with a Denny. So when I'm building those lineups, it'll have Denny as my dominator, winner, blah, blah, blah. Then I'll have place differentials. Then I'll have, somebody that's starting in the top 10 that I think is going to stay there as a replacement. And I'll just put, instead of Denny, I'll put Tyler Reddick. So those would be how I would differentiate the two. And in case, so if Denny has a bad day and Tyler Reddick picks up the pace, then that lineup is still in a fairly safe spot. All right, so we've got those two built out. Let's keep rolling here. Denny Hamlin, we did that. Kyle Larson, 10,500, I think, or 10,000. I wish the AI had not screwed this up. It's supposed to be there. 10,500. Starting in 5th, he was 7th in single lap, 6th in 10 lap consecutive average. At Nashville, in the 5 races we're comparing to, does not have a win. Only 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, an average running position of 15.8. And remember, Dover got put into this, and he was in that early wreck, so that really screwed the average running position. But 5 total starts at Nashville. He does have 1 win. I think it was in 2022 or 2021. It's not in the 5 races we're comparing to. But 5 total starts, all 5 have finished in the top 10, 3 times in the top 5, a 5.2 average running position. So the Darlington and Dover is definitely bringing his average down. So just remember that. He did finish 8th here at this race last year. Now, Chevys are still trying to figure things out here, but Kyle Larson's best lap was at a 29.45, which I think actually was here, 29.945. Yeah, this was after he came and made adjustments. I think they put the second set of tires on because you just don't go back out and fire off that fast with fresh tires after 30 laps. So I think he definitely put new fresh tires on. But Kyle Larson seems to be perfectly suitable with speed. No issues there. Let's put him on the calculator. Too many tabs open. All right. So Kyle Larson starting in 5th. I mean, he's finished in the top 10 for every one of these races. So this would be one that kind of like, okay, he qualified in 5th. Maybe he goes to 4th. And, you know, I think during one of the pit cycles, he'll get some laps led. I mean, for the 5 tracks we're comparing to, it's 4. Total of the last 5 race trend, it's 72. We'll give him 20. And we'll do the 2-for-1 special for fast laps, 50.5. I think it's in the top 60, but I'm not sure it's in one of the full-on dominator spots. Kyle Larson still is the most consistent Chevy in the field. Chase Elliott has made splashes. William Byron has been somewhat of a disappointment. Alex Bowman has definitely been a struggle because of his injuries and everything else. They've come back and done okay. Trackhouse has been real hit or miss. Spire's been hit or miss. Kyle Larson, I mean, that's why Kyle Larson's also the highest in the points for the Chevys. Has been the most consistent. And that's still not really where they should be at. So I'm going to kind of be a little conservative on how many laps he's going to lead and those types of things and where he's going to finish. He could easily come out and win this thing and dominate. And I'm not saying that that's not the case. And if you want to build yours out this way, it's fine. You have that ability now. You know, so if he goes and finishes in first and leads, 50 laps, he's there. But I'm kind of on the bus that until you prove that to me, and I'm a Kyle Larson diehard fan, he's my number 1 guy. But until you prove to me that the Chevys and the Hendrick cars have found the speed on a weekly basis to go out and dominate tracks, I still think it's just a top 5, which is a great day. I don't think it's a dominator day. I don't think it's I put the dominating potential at like 10 to 15%, where I put Denny Hamlin's chance of a dominator at like 65, 70%. So that's where I'm going to put him. I'm going to lock that in. Christopher Bell will be next at 10,200. I figured out a way to do that. Starting in 4th, I mean, all of the cream rose to the top because we didn't actually have qualifying. We used the matrix, and the matrix takes into account all those things. So all the guys that finished well last week are starting closer to the front. All the guys that are higher in points starting up front. And the guys that struggled last week, they got kind of kicked towards the back. We got some opportunities back there. But Christopher Bell starting in the 4th position. His practice speed was 1st and 4th in 10-lap consecutive average. The 5 races we're comparing to, though, no top 5s, only 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 19.0 average running position. He finished 10th in the race here at Nashville last year. 5 total starts, still no top 5s, 4 top 10s, though, and a 14th place average finish. So he's never finished in the top 5 here, but 4 out of 5 he's finished in the top 10. All right, so let's get him on that calculator here. 4th. So he's finished in the top 10 a bunch of times. So we'll give him a 7th. And do we think he cycles to the lead at some point today? He has been pretty consistent this year about doing that. And then just stubs his toe at some point. We'll go with a 25 and 12. We'll do the 2-for-1 special. 48.7. Now it needs to get to 60. If you think maybe he's a top 5, top 3, if he gets to 3rd, it's a 57.3. I could see potentially a 3rd starting in 4th. So we'll leave him at 3rd. 57.3. Lock that in. It's still not where he needs to be for optimal, but we'll see. I'm putting Christopher Bell at like a 15-20% ownership is where I'm probably going to fall on him. All right. Ryan Blaney next in line at $10,000. Starting in 7th, his practice speeds were 8th and 12th. He was the best Ford in practice. Just remember that, which also means he was the best Penske in practice. 12th and 10-lap consecutive average. I mean, Ryan Blaney's been consistent here. He does have the 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s. But remember, Penske and Fords have not been the same this year at all. On speed, on positioning, pit stops have been the complete, just been abysmal for Ryan Blaney. But he does know how to get around here. He does know how to win here. This place does drive kind of like a short track. Ryan Blaney does well at both Darlingtons and short tracks and Bristols and those types of things. So if you're out there doing the betting thing and you're looking at who's going to be potentially the top Ford, Ryan Blaney easily could be there. I got a couple other guesses that there might be some other Fords that make their way to the top. Ryan Priest. As a potential, but for now we're just talking about Ryan Blaney. Look at his practice speeds. I mean, they're okay. They're better than average. He's starting top 10, so they need to be better than average. A little more inconsistent than I would like to see from Blaney. Little up and down. Not as bad as a lot of the Fords once we get to the Fords, but wish I saw a little bit more consistency on speed from Ryan Blaney. So starting in 7th, I think he kind of is there and holds there. I don't know if it kind of put him in the same boat as Kyle Larson. Until these guys start really turning the corner and leading a ton of laps, I'm just going to kind of hold and be like, I kind of think you start where you finish where you start type thing, which is not bad. It's a top 10. And maybe because they do like to run long, during a pit cycle, maybe he leads 15 laps and has, 8 fast laps. That's kind of where I feel the day might go for Ryan Blaney. And that honestly might be a good day. Not where Ryan Blaney's concerned, but for overall where I see the Fords currently and where Ryan Blaney has been finishing currently, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. mean, he's got an 11.2 average finish over the last 5 races. So, tells me a little something. Something's just not quite there. So, let's lock Ryan Blaney into that one. All right, Chase Briscoe, next in line here at $9,700. This is our first real big place differential, starting from 31st, and it's a Joe Gibbs car. Boy, how many times have we seen this movie play over and over again? Oh, Chase Briscoe, he's fast in practice. Or not Chase Briscoe, any of them. Starting at 31st, oh, we got a ton of place differential. Oh, he is a lock. Okay. I love the Briscoe play today. I will probably be in the 35-40% range. I think he honestly probably ends up being 40-45% when it all is said and done. For the overall DraftKings world. So like, what does his ownership look like? It's probably going to be close to 50%. Him and our next guest, what could have been, man? Come on, Bristol. Oh, with Blaney? Or which one are you talking about? But Chase Briscoe, starting in 31st, he was good in practice. Decently consistent over the 5 races we're comparing to. Oh, Briscoe last week wrecking, yeah. Oh man, that would number one, that would have paid you and I really, really well. Number 2, would have been really, really nice to see. Briscoe's been very consistent. I'm just saying it doesn't matter if it's Briscoe or Elliott or Byron or whoever. When they're back in the muck and they're back in the trenches, it's an all-on war back there. And it collects people. I mean, Dover was a prime example of, we lost 5 or 6 all-star cars in the second lap of the all-star race at Dover because they were stuck back in the muck. And because they knew they only had 75 laps to get into the top 26. And if they didn't get there, they were going to have a real hard time. But yeah, so Briscoe starting 31st. I love the play. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be pretty heavy on it. It's going to be one of my top 5 highest owned drivers. I'm just saying, also buyer beware. He's going to be stuck back in the muck. Let's say he gets into a squabble with Ryan Preece, not to pick on Ryan Preece, whoever, AJ Allmendinger, and they slide up and they hit the outside wall on lap 5. And now Briscoe has to repair a toe link, and he's battling back from 3 laps down for the entire race. Well, that 31st doesn't look so good anymore. So that's what I'm saying is buyer beware. Just because the guy's $9,700 is really, really good, 13.4 average finish, should be able to make up spots pretty well. All it takes is, like what Family Man said last week, wrecking. I'm sitting there looking at my DraftKings going, wow, this is going really well. This is really good. This is really good. Oops, not so much. Oh, well, I ended up doing okay because I had a couple other lineups that popped up. But yeah, I mean, all it takes is one driver, one mistake, and you go from winning a lot of money and trying to figure out how you're going to spend it to, oh crap, I got to deposit money next week. So, either way, I mean, Briscoe's laps, if we look between here, so, of course, Briscoe's in this gold color. Very consistent, a couple little pop-ups here and there, but nothing too drastic. Now, the question is, can he work his way through the field? I think he can. It's going to take some time. It's going to hinder the laps led, but, if you look at that compared to a Blaney, they're not too far off. But I think Blaney kind of holds serve, where Briscoe, I think, does move through the field. So let's put on the calculator. It's not going to take a whole lot for him to get to where he needs to get. I mean, the projected 17th almost gets him there. We get him to a 14th. I don't think he leads that many laps. It potentially could, but starting 31st, it's just much more difficult. We'll give him the 5 laps led, 3 fast laps. I think there's potential if he can get up there, he can lead more, but he's starting 31st. It just makes it a little tougher. So, how far up, it needs to finish top 8 if it's a 5 and a 3. Well, yeah. It's probably closer to safely, it's more of a 10th place finish. And that does change if he has not as many laps led and those types of things. So, that's I'm going to kind of put him here as a safety valve. I mean, it still makes it the second highest point getter on my board. So I'm okay with that. So we're going to lock that one in, and we'll move on to Chase Elliott at $9,500 starting in the 29th. Once again, same thing as Briscoe. This looks very promising. This looks great. I will have ownership in Chase Elliott. Don't get me wrong. Buyer beware, though. Chase Elliott's really good on concrete. He's really pretty good at Nashville. He's decent. He's an 18.8 average finish. Hence the thing. It's an 18.8 average finish over 5 starts. He does have 1 win. The average finish kind of bothers me a little bit, but starting 29th, once again, we just need a top 10 probably from Chase Elliott. Practice speeds were, pretty consistent. I mean, about lap 33, we're starting to see some fall off here. And then it kind of evens out and stays close to the average. Oh, he's starting 29th. I mean, heck, if he ran average, he should get up to 19th. I think he should finish better than that. But once again, I think it also is going to hinder, just like Briscoe, it's going to hinder as many laps led. But we'll take it to a 10th. Yeah, I think you probably, if you're working your way through the field, you might get a few fast laps, but I'm leaving the laps led at about 1. I mean, his average for the last 5 races is 1. At the same tracks we're comparing to, it's 1. Average fast laps is 9, 10, somewhere in there. But a 10th place gets him to 55.1. It puts him 3rd of the highest points getters for me. All it's going to take for him to get into the optimal is a 7th place or better, which I think is very possible, but I'm going to keep it kind of conservative and put him at a 10th. You like that AI generated thumbnail? If you're interested in the AI stuff, I went on a tangent for a good tangent about AI, and some bad. I don't know, 20 minutes ago? So you can always rewind back to that. But yes, thank you for the compliment. I will let OpenAI, ChatGPT, know that they did a great job. Yeah, that's the difference. And that's the things that you begin to learn about AIs as you're going through them is some do things really well. Some do things not so good. Like Claude and Anthropic don't do graphics very well. They do coding not so well. Okay, Jax, take it easy there. I don't do graphics. Never said I did. I ran restaurants my life. You can either like the video that's in here or you can leave. This is a free channel. You don't get to come in here and be an idiot, though. So, if you don't like it, there's the door. Whatever. I don't care. I like my AI shit. Whatever. All right. This is where I'm leaving Chase Elliott. What a douche. All right. William Byron, 9,300. William Byron. Starting in 8th. He's been struggling so far this year. You know what? Go away. All right, he's gone. I don't put up with that. Don't come in here and be a jackass. If you want to have a discussion about a driver or whatever and those types of things, that's fine. Don't come here and be a jackass. So, whatever. I only muted him for 24 hours. He can come back in. If he wants to be a decent human being, that's fine. If not, I will just block your ass. I don't care. Well, I don't necessarily need to report him. I just kick him out. I muted him the first time. You know, he had a chance to apologize. But don't come in here and be a jackass. I don't play those games. I'll block you and move on with the rest of my life. No, that's no sweat off my back. This is a free channel. I do this for free. I don't ask for donations. Maybe when I get this whole thing built out, I'll have a small subscription service. And all I'm looking to do is really make some of my money back on the AI and the hosting and those types of things. I'm not looking to do this to get rich or make a bunch of money. So yeah, if that guy wants to be a jerk about my AI, whatever, that's fine. You can go suck it over one of the other channels. All right, William Byron, starting in 8th. Let's get focused back on this. Practice speeds were 10th and 10th. Okay, pretty consistent with practice speeds. He is okay here. He's been okay this year. Actually, he's been a disappointment, and perfectly honest. He has definitely struggled with speed so far this year. I mean, I still think he makes the chase. I still think he's going to be okay. They'll get this figured out. Or they won't, but I think they get it figured out. I think Hendrick gets it figured out. Hendrick's too big, too much involved. They're going to get it figured out. And once again, I mean, his practice speeds look good. They actually look a lot like Kyle Larson's. Looks like they come in, make adjustments, put another set of tires on, and go back out, and they're fast again. He's not quite as fast as Larson. But and they're a little bit all over the place, but for the most part, he's as good as Gibbs, Chastain, or any of them. Yeah, the question is, can the Hendricks and the Chevys do anything with those Toyotas? And I'm just honestly going to say, at this point, no. Will they be able to get there? Yes. How long does that take? I don't. Until they start to prove that they can be consistent with wins on raw speed. Chase Elliott has 2 wins. Don't get me wrong. That's good. And you win races by pit strategy. Don't get me wrong. But raw speed, the Chevys are still missing it. Chase Elliott won Martinsville on pit strategy, which is fine. That is a very legitimate way to win. Daniel Suarez won pit strategy. It's a win. He had speed. He was running in the top 10 most of the day. Got it. Not trying to negate either of those wins for Chevy. But the raw speed, overall speed, is still coming from Toyota. And until that starts to change on the track consistently, I'm going to be a fade on a lot of the Chevys. Don't know why guys have to be blanks. You're taking time to help us make because people want to be jerks. And that, I get it. That's why you don't ever go read the comment section. The problem is I need to read the comment section because you guys have lots of really good questions and thoughts and concerns. So I read the comment sections. If you want to come into my live channel and be a jerk, I'm going to call you out on it. And then I'm going to block you. Then I'm going to mute. Well, I'm not going to block you. I'm going to mute you. If you want to come back in and apologize and stick around and use what I have for free, cool. If not, I'll just block you forever. I'll give you one shot to repent. After that, I'm done. So, yes. What are the thoughts? Let's see. But I don't get Priest, Busher, or Wallace. Well, I mean, we're about ready to get there. Wallace is coming up in 3 turns, and Priest is in about 8. So we'll be there pretty quickly. We're starting to roll through this as long as people are nice. Let's put it that way. But William Byron, I'm going to give him. I mean, his average fast laps 10 and 0. Give him 5. We'll give him the 1 token lap led. I mean, I think it's finish where you start, 38.6. So I'm going to lock it in at. I don't like it. I mean, could he get to something a little bit better? Yeah. But honestly, I just don't. It's kind of like Ryan Blaney. I just don't see the speed to get there. And in fact, I like the Ryan Blaney long run speed than I like the William Byron short run speed. So until William Byron turns that look around, I'm probably going to skip on it. Ty Gibbs, $9,000. He was fast in practice and kind of held for most of it. That's William Byron. 6th in qualifying, which was given to him. 4th in single lap, 10th in 10 lap consecutive average. We don't really have anybody else to compare to. He is in the blue here. I mean, he was faster than Ross. Really good long run speed. What did I miss? Did we have a troll come in? Yeah, I mean, we just had kind of somebody who wanted to make a smartass comment about the AI generated graphic on the front. And at first he was like, it sounded like he was pretty cool and was like, hey, I like the graphic. And he goes, I'm being sarcastic, blah, 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 something else. So I was like, you're muted. So I muted him for 24 hours. He can come back and apologize. And if he wants to be another smartass, I'll just block him forever. I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep or sweat on it. I'm behind. I'm only at the Byron part. Yeah, we did. We had somebody who wasn't real nice, which is fine. I get it. I honestly expect to see more and more as the channel continues to grow. So, and guess what? I have no problems blocking. I have no problem kicking them out. I have no problem doing any of those. I'm not going to tolerate it. So be nice. No, I have not gone over her so far. He's right here. But Ty Gibbs, I think Ty Gibbs is very quick, very consistent. He is in the Gibbs car, showing great speed so far this year. Ty Gibbs starting in 6th, is projected to 20th. But the last 5 trend, he's got an average finish of 15.2. I don't love that average finish, but yeah, 4th. I mean, he struggled at Dover a little bit, but he got damage early and just never recovered from it. And then just got blowing right front. That's the concerning part, is Ty Gibbs has had an issue with blowing right fronts. Well, right front is the absolute pain point for Nashville. Nashville eats right fronts like they're Doritos and then just can't get enough. I'm going to put it at 4th. I'm probably going to leave him at 6. I think it's a finish where you start type of day. I mean, there's potential he gets up and leads a bunch of laps. He's really good at Bristol. Dover was a struggle for him. He was quick, but a little bit of a struggle. I'll give him the 8 fast laps. I just don't know how many laps he leads. I'm going to leave it at the token 1. I'm going to leave it at 41.9. All right, Carson Hocevar. Next in line. I said that he was coming. 17th is a starting spot. Oh boy. He has 2 starts, both of them top 20s. One of them, he finished in 2nd. So 1 top 5. Oh, what's his practice speeds actually look like? I mean, they look typical Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar is the most inconsistent, consistent crazy practice speed person. You can't ever seem to get a good, smooth practice session out of Carson Hocevar, and then you just don't have any idea where to put him. He's good here. This is a type of track that Carson Hocevar really thrives at. Because he can kind of be Carson Hocevar. He can be a little pushy. And you can move people out of the way here. I mean, heck, we saw that last night. That was awesome. Brent Cruz actually moving Justin Allgaier out of the way briefly. Justin Allgaier came back to get that one. But either way, that was kind of a cool move. Austin Hill moving Kyle Larson. This track, you can get to somebody's back bumper, gently get them out of the groove, and go on around. And that's kind of where Carson Hocevar loves to live. Like I said, his practice speeds are wonk. You can't have, and this is normal. And that's why I go, I don't know. Let's see. You guys are talking about HVAC stuff. I love it. Yeah, Family Man's really good at that type of stuff. Don't abuse him. But yeah. Let's put Carson on the chart here. Let's see. Starting in 17th, projected to finish in 9th. He'll have fast laps. He is notorious for running fast laps. For him to get to that optimal of 60 points, I mean, he's one of the last drivers before he get to 60. He's going to have to finish top 2 without leading a bunch of laps. And Carson's he's too inconsistent for me to give him a whole lot of laps led. Seventh? We'll give him 7th. That's his best finish over the last 5 races. He did finish 2nd here last year. I expect potentially a better, but I'm going to stay a little conservative and say 7th. I'll give him an extra fast lap. 51.8 is kind of where I'm going to put him at. I still think that puts him in the top 15. 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 or 5 people ahead of him. I like the Carson Hocevar play. I think he's going to get used quite a bit. So it's not a sneaky play by any means. All right, Bubba Wallace next in line here. $8,700, I think, is what. Bubba Wallace $8,500. Starting in 18th, he was 19th in single lap, 14th in 10 lap consecutive average. Bubba here, 5 races, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 4 top 20s. Pretty consistent, kind of getting that top 20, 13.4 average finish. Starting in 18th. He just can't seem to find the same speed as Reddick. He's faster than Herbst, but almost kind of like a Briscoe. Almost can't get out of his own way, or a Bell. Almost can't get out of his way. Takes good runs and then just somehow or another, maybe not necessarily all of his fault, finds a way to just kind of mess it up. I like the Bubba Wallace call. About what I do with Carson Hocevar. Kind of put both of them in the same camp. Bubba's speeds are a little more consistent, but they're more right down that average, and he's starting 18th. I think there's a potential for a top 10 finish. So we'll kind of put it at 10th. I don't think he goes out and leads a bunch of laps, though. The Toyota's got the speed. Can Bubba just kind of get things turned around a little bit? Haven't completely sold on that. I think he'll have 4 fast laps or so. That's about what he's averaging. Starting a little bit further back than I want for him to lead laps. So don't really think much of a dominator. I'm just going to lock him in at 10. Continental, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you get in. Love having conversations over there. So, yeah, thanks for coming in. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate you tuning in on a Sunday morning. We're eventually going to get back to a Saturday night show because the races are going to start to get early on Sunday again, and we won't have time because I love to sit here and ramble on about AI and stupid people. But hey, that's what it is. That's what you get when you come to a free YouTube breakdown session about NASCAR and Draftkings. Well, you're awfully complimentary there, family man. How do you know his mind is sharp? Might be expanded. He might have big brain. May not be so sharp. Big brain, as my son says. Big brain. He used to say that when he was little. Doesn't say that anymore. But yes, please join the Discord. The more the merrier. We love to have conversations over there because community is always really good, and like-minded community is even better. Joe Logano starting in 9th. Oh boy, I am number one. I don't like Joey Logano. Everybody, well, not everybody. Anybody that's been following this channel for a long time knows I do not like Joey Logano. Never liked Joey Logano. I think he's a punk. I respect his craft. I respect his championships. I respect what he's done for the sport. I just don't like him. So it's really hard for me to swallow the pill sometimes. This week, it's not so hard. Because he's starting in 9th, and his practice speeds were 31st and 21st. And if he makes me eat crow, he makes me eat crow next week. And I'll eat all the crow. But his practice speeds are not even at best average. And he's qualified in the top 10. He's win. I didn't have his win here. I gotta I'm gonna beat up Claude tonight. I'm gonna turn into a 1 and a 0, and I'm gonna go in digitally and beat him up. I just do not like it. And starting in 9th, I just have no interest at all. So Joey Logano starting in 9th. I'm leaving him at his projected 16th. I don't think he leads any laps. We'll give him the token 1. He might get 3 fast laps. We'll leave it there. I'm going to leave him here. The baseline bottom end for top 15 is probably going to be like 34. And he doesn't cut it. So, I mean, and remember, you can go in and make your own calculator and you can put Joey Logano wherever you want. I know I have a bias. I know all those things. So I get it. If you like Joey Logano and you want to put him in, you want to project him higher, you now have your own calculator to go do that. Ross Chastain, next in line here at 8,100. He was second on both speeds, fastest and 10 lap consecutive average. Jim Parrish, sorry, I misunderstood. Should I play Wallace or Hocevar? Jim, do you play multiple lineups? Let's ask that. And if you play multiple lineups, are you playing in large field tournaments or small field cash size tournaments? That will help me help you. Because if you're playing in a large field tournament and you're playing 20, 40, 150 lineups, I would play both. If you're playing small field tournament, cash size tournaments, or the single entry types, Wallace is a safer play, and I'm not sure either one are safe. Their starting spots are about the same. Their average finishes, Hocevar has a tendency to finish better than Wallace. Carson's more of a wild card, and depending on where Bubba's head is the wild card. So I'd like both of them. I will be playing both of them. I will probably have somewhere in the realm of 15% to 20% ownership of both of them. I may even run both of them in a lineup together. I think they're literally as equal on paper as you could potentially get. Neither one had rocket speed in qualifying, or in practice. 16th and 11th, 19th and 14th. It's a coin flip, and they literally could finish this race 4th and 5th, or 20 and 21st. I don't really have a whole lot of, yeah, you should take this one over that one, because I think they're the same. If it may help Mark with this, they are 1A and 1B. Yeah. I'd agree with that. It's literally a GPPs or LUS. I don't know what 4 LUS is. I know what the GPP is, but 4 LUS. You could specify a little bit better. But while you're doing that, I'll cover Ross Chastain, who was second in speed. Remember, this is Trackhouse's backyard. Trackhouse lives and breathes Nashville. They're headquartered in Nashville. This is their home track. They want to show up and run well here. Ross Chastain has won here. And this isn't right either. I swear to God, I'm going to beat the living crap out of Claude tonight. Claude is going to get fired here soon if he's not careful. This is right, though. 1 win at Nashville, 2023. If I remember correctly. But Ross has always seemed to have good speed here. He is in the red. Does have a couple hiccups here, but starting in 35th, if he can follow Chase Briscoe through the field cleanly, I love having Ross. He's going to be probably as high owned as Chase Briscoe is. Probably in the 40, 45, 50% range. Top 5 of ownership. Without a doubt. What do I think about Logano? Are you I'm wondering if you're being funny. Everybody tell them what I think about Logano. My honest opinion about Logano. Kidding. If you happen to miss, just rewind a little bit. It's very hard for me to be biased about Logano because I don't like Logano. And his practice speeds actually legitimately sucked. So I'm not playing any Logano. But if you want to play Logano, go ahead. But you can also jump into the website of King's Calculator, just like this. GPP 4 lineups. I honestly would take your best lineup. If one of them has Bubba Wallace, run it. The other one, I would run it very similar, and I would just run it back with Carson Ostovar. That's my honest. 4 lineups makes it a little bit tougher to do a whole lot, because when I run the 5 maxes, when I run those lineups, those are the ones I spend the most time with. All my other lineups I build, I have strategies behind them all, but I have 5 lineups that I fully hand build that I spend probably 10 minutes on each lineup. Maybe not quite that much. I probably spend at least 5 minutes per lineup. Like, I'm literally running this calculator back through with the guys in those lineups, and I'm concentrating and focusing on what I actually really fully think that lineup's going to bring me. I spend a lot of time on those 5, but those are the ones I run: the $88, the $44, the $33, the $20. Those are my high-priced, high-end tournaments, hand-built. I also then run those in the other lineup too, but if I were running 5 lineups, I would run one with Host of Art and run one with Bubba Wallace and build around it. I don't think in my 5 lineups I would run both in one lineup, even though I could see the argument for it, and I probably wouldn't have much of an argument to say, yeah, that's bad advice, because I think it's perfectly fine. Both of them could easily finish top 10, top 5. One of them could easily potentially win. I think this is a Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell type of day, but we've seen really crazy stuff happen in Nashville before. So absolutely no guarantees out there. Weird stuff happens. Rain happens. So that hopefully that helps. I like both of them the same. I really don't, and I don't have a problem with running either one of them. So I missed what did you put up there, Failing Man? Some funny little symbol 9th? I don't even know what that means. You're using some weird alien stuff. All right. I don't know why that looks weird, because when I go up to look at it, it does weird stuff. I can't share that on here because it'll be a weird back loop. I just happened to see that. Sorry. Distraction. Squirrel. Ross Chastain. Average finish of 10.4 for the 5 tracks we're comparing to. That's actually really good for Ross, especially currently. Because if you look at the trend, his average is a 26.6. That's the one concerning part. The one trend that does seem to run well is he runs Nashville really well. Trackhouse runs Nashville really well. Hence why I wore my Trackhouse shirt today, because this is their playground. This is their backyard. I expect all 3 Trackhouse cars to run well. Where they finish, that's a little different story. I expect them all to run well. I think it's probably better than 10th. Now starting 35th for Ross, it's going to be tough to lead laps. So I'm going to tone that one down a lot. Fast laps, we'll give him 7. I'm kind of in this ballpark. I mean, a 10th easily gets him to 62.5. I think to get in the optimal, he only needs 55 points. I think this potentially sets up very well. But it's going to be extremely chalky. So just know that. It's a very chalky play. But he is my second highest on the board currently. All right, Chris Buescher. Next in line here in the Ford. The Fords are struggling. I wish they weren't, but they are. RFK is one of the Ford groups that is better than Penske on average. Maybe not one driver here or there, but as a whole, the team RFK is better than Penske this year. Strange. Chris Buescher starting in 22nd, 13th in single lap, 27th in 10 lap. Ugh, that's not good. Starting 22nd though, got some room to improve. He's in the green. Let's see, pretty much running consistent average. So, should you fade Larson to play Wallace? Oh. I mean, what did Larson? Hold on, let me finish this. When I get back to the calculator, we'll look at it again. Chris Buescher, pretty consistent in practice, about average, starting in 22nd. I think he gets a little bit better than the average. I mean, his average is 18th at their overall 15.6. 4 top 20s. I think Chris Buescher gets to like a 12th place finish. Let's see what that does for him. I mean, the calculator is saying 16th. The last 5 races is 18th. Need to make sure these two match, because I keep going over here to see and it doesn't match. I got to talk to a lot about fixing that. Honestly, I think it's about a 12th place finish, and I think maybe 4 laps. I don't know if he gets to any laps led. I'm not sure if the Ford's lead any laps. So this is kind of where I'm at. So I'm gonna lock him in for a 12th place finish. We'll see how this nets out in the way of top 15s and those types of things. All right. Jim, you were asking, should I fade Larson to play Wallace? I've got Larson at 52.5. I have Wallace at 44.1. So from my pure calculations, I would play Larson. But you've got a huge $2,000 discrepancy between those two. If you're fading Larson to get to Wallace, you're skipping over a lot. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just trying to figure out the mindset of leaving the $2,000 on the table by fading Larson to get to Wallace. I don't necessarily think I like the Larson play better than the Wallace play, but I also could see where Larson has struggled at times. He has not struggled at times as much as Wallace has this year. So with that being said, I would take the Larson play. Larson starting him more up front. He tends to continue to run up front. They both wreck at about the same rate, where they'll just do stupid stuff and stub their toe. Larson does that almost as much as Wallace does. So, I think they're apples to apples there. They're not apples. They're apples to oranges when we're looking at price. So the price difference from 52.5 points at 10,500 to get down to 44.1 at an $8,500 price. Now that's with Bubba Wallace finishing in 16th. If you think he's going to get to 10th, well, let's say he gets to 7th. Doesn't lead a whole lot of laps. We'll give him 4 fast laps. It takes him to 50.1. So that helps. So I guess the thing I'm trying to figure out is the $2,000 price difference, and what are you going to use the $2,000 for something different? I guess what I'm trying to figure out. Now, I don't know. I can't help you with that, Jim, because I'm not saying it's not right. I'm just saying I'm confused by running that. So, not saying it's not right. It could easily be a good play. I'm just trying to figure out the $2,000 price difference. So, I'll continue to try to wrap my head around that. Brad Kozlowski starting in 12th. Practice speeds were, once again, the Fords, RFKs, Penske's, all of them just struggling. 23rd to 16th, his average finish 11.6, average running position 14.2, finished 23rd here. Not the best track for Brad, not the worst. Looks like they came in and made adjustments, fired back off. I don't even know if they made adjustments. He's consistently better than average throughout the run. I think they must have come in and made an adjustment somewhere around here because the speed picks up and is much better. But I think starting in 12th, I don't think it's any better than 12th. So let's put it on the calculator here. 12th, the averages have it at 14. Brad's known for staying out long, kind of like Blaney is, to do two things: either catch some people a lap down that pitted early, also be able to lead some laps, have a better tire strategy towards the end. So I'll give him like 8 laps led for the potential of that strategy. And when doing that type of strategy, you get some laps led. So we'll stay at 38. But I don't know if it's any better than 14th. I can go with an 11th maybe, and just say it's a 39.6. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to line up for old Brad Kozlowski. Jim says, I have 13 drivers I'm playing today on DraftKings. Okay. And are you thinking about, so is Larson currently one of those 13 drivers? And if you take Larson out, you put Wallace in? I could see that. Because what would need to happen with Larson at that price tag is Larson's going to need to get out and lead quite a few laps. Bubba doesn't have to necessarily do that. Bubba can just be consistent all day, finish top 7 or top 7 with a few fast laps, and it probably puts it as much of a good play as a Larson that just hangs out in the top 5 all day at the same price, at the price difference. So I think it really all depends on when you build, when you think about the storyline, and I've talked about this in lots of other videos, is, you know, when you build that particular lineup, when you're hand building, and it sounds like you're hand building 4 lineups or whatever. You know, so when I'm hand building those 5 precious expensive lineups, I'm building a story around each one of those. I'm building a story, like the first one will be like Denny Hamlin, I think, goes out, he leads 180 laps. I think he's the absolute dominator. I think he wins the race. Okay, what happens behind him? That's what I built. The second lineup could be a Tyler Reddick type of lineup where the same thing happens. Something happens to Denny. Denny Hamlin gets a penalty on pit road, whatever, does not dominate the race. Maybe he comes back and finishes 5th, but from 1st to 5th, you lose a place differential, but Tyler Reddick's out there. He stays out there. He leads a bunch of laps. That's my dominator. What do I build around him? The next one is Christopher Bell. What does he do? How does he get there? How is that all affected? I run it back. And I build that lineup with that in mind. Then the next one. And that's kind of how I build those 5 lineups. Sometimes I'll run 2 Denny Hamlin lineups and run it back. Same story, different play behind it. If that makes sense. So, and that's why I always say, are you going to run, how many laps are you running? And if it's just 4, you really need to build the storyline in your head. And I would not run the same storyline 4 times. Because you don't, if Denny Hamlin if Denny Hamlin is that storyline for all 4, and Denny Hamlin has a problem, you don't have a story anymore. You have a nightmare because all of your lineups are now debunked. So pick one. If you're in a single entry, you have to just pick it and go with it. The 5 maxes, the 20 maxes, the 150 maxes, that's where you can get creative. That's where you can find needles in haystacks. And that's why they call them GPP plays. They're GPP darts. You just literally just close your eyes, you threw the dart and said, okay, I'm going to take Ryan Preece. I'm not saying Ryan Preece is a bad call. It just happens to be the next name on the board. Hopefully that helps, Jim. That's how I go about building. And it's worked for me. Not saying it's going to work for everybody. It works for me. Ryan Preece, starting 28th. This track is absolutely in Ryan Preece's wheelhouse, and the stats just don't show it. Fast corners, high speeds. This is modified, open wheel modified, that Ryan Preece cut his teeth on forever. He has a truck win here. He always seems to find his way to the front. You want to take a real long shot, I would put Ryan Preece as the top Ford in the betting world. What is Ryan Preece coming in at on DraftKings? Let me see what I'm interested to see what this says. Ryan Preece, top Ford. What is this doing? Log in. Bear with me. Driver props, team props. That's Joe Gibbs. Race props, top Ford. Ryan Preece is 9-1. So yeah, I will probably put a bet out there for Ryan Preece to be the top Ford at 9-1. So $10 bet wins you $90. Or $1 bet wins you $9. So I really think this is a good spot for Ryan Preece. His practice speeds were about average, and it looks like he improved. Starting 28th, Jim asks, sounds like 5 lineups I need to make today. I'm not trying to talk you into something that you had a plan on at 4. It is strictly because I run 5 because I run the 5 max. And that's kind of where I just start from. If they used to be 3 max. So like in the truck and a rally series, it's 3 maxes. And that's what I built. I built 3. So it's not a 3 or 5. It's what Draftkings kind of forced me into. And it's been fine. I don't mind building 5 for the Cup Series. And I wouldn't mind building 5 for the other ones. But that's just because those are much more of the small field tournaments. That's why I build those. I really think about the hand builds on those. Where the other ones, I just kind of I put time and effort into it. But I'll take some much more long shots on those, like putting a Ryan Preece into a lineup or 2 or 3. I'll probably have him in like 10% of my lineups. Definitely not a fade on the Ryan Preece thing. His stats do not say what I really. He should have a really good day. And I know the stat line, so this is just strictly a gut call. I think he ends up having a really good day. There is no real data to say that he will. That he probably should. Where does the calculator put him? 19th. And that's honestly probably where he's going to end up falling. But I think there is a fair chance that he gets to right at a top 10. Don't think he leaves any laps. He might have a couple of fast laps. So, that also puts him pretty high on my board. I'm going to bump it down to like a 12th. So, but I also have just a sneaky suspicion that Ryan Preece could have a really good day. That's just a gut check feeling. So, no data behind it at all, other than just watching him race at this style track for years. And his open wheel modified coming out of the Northeast just really leans well for this style track. All right. Alex Bowman, next in line here at 19th. He was 29th in single lap, 29th in 10 lap consecutive average. Oh boy, a little bit of struggle here. And I think, honestly, this is about, you're going to finish about where you start. It might improve slightly, but he's in the gold, and it is a struggle all the way throughout the first part of practice. It improves at about lap 31. They probably came in and made some adjustments. They still were not near as good as everyone else. I think it's at best a 15th place finish. This has not been one of his better tracks. This has 19th. I'll give him a 15th just to give him a little bit of a bump, but I don't think he leads any laps. He may have a couple fast laps, but this isn't one of Alex Bowman's best tracks, so I'm going to lock him in at 35.9. Move on from there. Daniel Suarez, our winner from last week, who actually, he was there all race. Well, not all race. He struggled at times. and battled back to get on the lead lap. Made a great strategy call, but his speed was not awful. He had some bad luck throughout the race, but he was able to battle back each time. But whoa, I just noticed his practice speeds 36 and 36. What happened to Daniel? He's starting in third. Oh, gonna waste a great opportunity. Yeah, you're gonna get the Joey Logano treatment this week, kiddo. Good thing you got a win last week because you're gonna get your butt punted to the back. I have a feeling. So I don't really have a whole lot of interest in Mr. Daniel Suarez. I'll leave it at the projected 16th. It's going to take him out of any spot that I want to put him. So, I mean, it takes him to below Joey Logano. So, yeah, and I think that's probably appropriate. Corey Heim next in line. Congrats to Corey Heim. Will be in the 35 car next year. Where does Riley Herbst go? How does Riley Herbst feel about that? But, oh boy, you want to talk about a packed house over at 2311. Corey Heim, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace. Oh boy. Jake Smalls, Gibbs, Heim, Chastain, Core. Yeah, I don't mind that. Chastain's going to be super chalky. Heim should have good speed. The question is, can he finish it off? That's the one thing that Corey has somewhat lacked, just slightly. I'm not trying to negate Corey Heim in any way. I like the kid. I think he is going to be an all-star in this sport for a long, long time. He just still hasn't quite figured out how to finish off a cup race. And they're different. They are long. They are twice as long as a truck race. They're 30% longer than a rally race. They just are different. And you're also racing against the best of the best. And not that Corey Heim can't hold his own against those. He can. The 2311 absolutely has speed. I'm not sure Heim is core for me. Just as much as I'm not sure Gibbs is core for me. But you build your lineups. I'm just here to give my 2 cents. I don't mind them. And they potentially do make my core towards the bottom of my core 15. Put it that way. Like 12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere in that range. But we're going to figure all this out, and we're going to look at my calculator at the end and kind of see where everybody falls. I don't mind them. I'm not trying to sell you out. Chastain's going to be chalky as all get out. And that's fine. You just have to know that that's going to be the case for him. Corey Heim, speed here, not a problem for the kid. None at all. But the Toyotas are that way. They're all fast. He was 20th and 30th. I think he improves throughout the day. I think it's probably like a 12th place finish. If I were to say, if somebody said, hey, where's he going to finish? I'd probably put him about 12th. I mean, this has 33rd, but this doesn't have a whole lot of data go on. So, and that's all it does. It takes the averages. I'm going to put him at 12th. I think he probably does that. I don't know if he does this weird strategy again like he did. Where were they? Texas? Where did he go and lead? Was it Kansas? There was a track where Corey Heim just like refused to pit. His crew told him to stay out, and he was leading laps. But then it ended up just burning up his equipment way too much, and he wrecked because of it. I think he's going to be not so aggressive on wanting to lead laps. It was cool to see him do it. But I think that experiment kind of went a little wrong. 24th to 12th, 5 fast laps. The problem is we don't have a whole lot of data to pull from. And so it's much more of a gut call. Does Corey Heim make a top 10? I'm going to leave him at 11th just outside that threshold. Still good points, 48. Yeah, I'm gonna leave him there. I can always come back and change it, but I'm gonna lock him in at 48.8. That's a good solid top 15 DraftKings points day. Austin Cindric starting way in the back, 36. Lots of place differential. He was 15th and 19th. He has been consistently over the last 3, 4, 5 races the fastest of the Penske's, which is really interesting to say. I mean, I think Cindric has turned a corner. I think he's gotten better, and the Fords have gotten a little bit worse, which is a little tough to say because he's gotten better and the Fords have gotten worse. Where would that put Austin Cindric if he were in a Toyota? Good God, who knows? But starting 36, once again, this is just like Ross Chastain. I think there's going to be a ton of ownership. The question is, when you build that storyline, does that storyline have Austin Cindric making it through all of the muck and getting a top 15, top 12 type of finish? Practice speeds were They got a little bit better lap 18 or 19. I don't know if they came in and made some adjustments. They went back out and fired off pretty quick, but then kind of fell off. I think he was also one of the ones that showed up late to practice because they were going through inspection still for the second time. But I mean, the place differential play alone for Austin Cindric is perfectly fine. At his price tag, he's only going to need to get to 50 points. I mean, he's sub $7,000. I mean, literally a top 15 puts him there. Even if he only has 2 fast laps, doesn't lead a lap, we'll give everybody the token 1. I mean, it puts him at 51.2 just to get to 15th. If he can make it through the muck and not get wrecked in the muck, and that part has been the struggle with Austin Cindric. If he starts up front, he finishes up front. Starts in the back, he typically finishes in the back. I'll have some ownership of Austin. It'll be chalky, and I'm fine with that. I'll have to differentiate somewhere else. Will he be in one of my 5 expensive lineups? Yeah, he'll be in one of them. Ross will probably be in 2 of them. If that tells you where I think the 2 of them lie, and they're starting pretty much side by side. So I think Ross has better speed and consistency at Nashville than Cindric does. But I'm going to lock him in at 51.2. Not a problem there. I mean, I have Ross at 62.5. Eric Jones, next in line here, starting in 13th. I mean, very impressive for Eric Jones the last few weeks. He has been a shining little star over at Legacy Motor Club. And that's honestly, I think that's where Bradley Herbst ends up being. He ends up filling out the 3rd car over there. The question is, where does Ryan Preece go? Because Ryan Preece is, after this year, unless RFK is going to just run it without a charter, Ryan Preece is out. So, silly season's going to be wild. There's going to be a lot of people in different rides next year. Because we also have a lot of kids in the smaller series, the under series, that are phenomenal. I mean, Brent Cruz he and Corey Day are just phenomenal. And you got Jesse Love sitting out there. You've got Austin Hill running the 33 car. There's a lot of talent coming up. Not saying Austin Hill is all that talented, other than Corey Day is your boy. Yeah, I really like some Corey Day. I mean, Larson's my number 1. And because Larson has brought Corey Day up, kind of have gravitated towards him. And I like Zilich more than I like Day. So, but Eric Jones has been a nice, shiny, bright star over at Legacy. Good, consistent speed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Just bringing it every week. had some issues on pit road. They got to clean that up a little bit. But just really good, consistent speed. And this style track, like Darlington, like Dover, he's very consistent and very good at. This fits into his wheelhouse. The problem is his starting spot. I think maybe he gets up to a 7th or 8th place finish. He could surprise me and get better, but I'm going to stay a little conservative with it and say a 7th. We'll give him the token 1. That puts him in a 44.7. So not quite into the optimal range. He would need to get to 4th, which is possible. Probable, though, that he gets more likely just between 5th and 10th. So we'll lock it in as 7th and move on to Josh Berry, starting 33rd. Ooh, that's a place differential here with the Penske / Wood Brothers guys. 32nd in practice, 22nd in 10 lap, average finish 27th, finished 30th last year in this race, 22.8 average running position for the 5 races we're comparing to. There's not a whole lot looking up here for Josh Berry other than his starting spot. Practice speeds were worse than average for all of practice. Oh boy. The only thing going for Josh at this point is his starting spot, and I think really this finishing spot that the computer, the algorithm came up with is probably about right. 23rd. We'll give him the token 1 just in case he happens to get lucky. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Yeah, it's probably a 30.8, and that's being nice. So I think it ends up being worst. Oh, everybody's favorite Zane Smith. My highest owned driver, Mark. Who? Josh Berry? Josh Berry's going to be your highest owned driver? Okay. I like taking your money, family man. I really do. I'm kidding, by the way. Wow. I mean, is he really your highest owned driver? You did see his practice speeds, right? I know he's got place differential potential. I'd rather take Ross, though. Or I'd rather take Cindric than Berry. I see your googly eyes. All right, Zane Smith, everyone's favorite driver in here. And this would be a sneaky play. Oh boy, would it be sneaky. Starting at 11th. I don't like this starting spot at all. Why did Zane do this? I love taking Zane. He probably is the most talented driver over at front row. And they're also young. It's just really hard to say. Now, my favorite personality over there is Noah Gragson. My favorite driver for talent is probably Zane. I mean, the problem is his practice speeds. I mean, he is not close to Gibbs or Ross. I mean, maybe he lucks his way into a 7th or 8th place finish. Maybe. I mean, he has his best finish is 2nd at the 5 tracks we're comparing to. The trend is a 24.4. Starting at 11th, it's projecting him as a 17th. I'll give him some credit and give him just at a top 10. I just don't like the starting spot for Zane. I think he maybe finishes where he starts. But I mean, for him to get up there, he's going to need a top 3. I know everybody loves Zane. I like Zane too. I just don't know. I'm going to lock him in at a 10th place finish and a 36.2. All right, Connor Zilich. This track runs extremely similar to Dover. What did Connor Zilich do at Dover? He, number one, didn't make the All-Star portion because of a win or anything. He got in because he had speed and missed the big wreck. And then once he got in, he went from the back to the front, got a penalty, or pitted early or something, and had to come from the back to the front, and did that, and was contending. And if the race had been a little bit longer, he may have caught Denny Hamlin. He ended up with a solid top 5. And his practice speeds look pretty good for a kid who's starting 38th. We got a lot of chalk back here. And I know that I'm a little bit of a Connor Zilic fan, but this is almost like taking money from a baby. Come on. I mean, he can finish 17th and make the potential optimal lineup. Yeah. I mean, I honestly think that he gets a top 10. I think it's like a 6th place finish. I mean, that puts him my 3rd highest or my 2nd highest point getter. I love the Connor Zilic play. I'm going to be really, really heavy on Connor Zilic. And if it bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass. I'll eat the crow along with the Joey Logano not play for next week. Who was asking about Joey Logano? Oh, Kenneth Bell. Did he leave or is he still here? I'm trying to figure out if he was being funny or not. Austin Dillon starting in 32nd. Oh, I mean, this poor team, they were on such a great trajectory until the Kyle Busch and stuff happened. God, I think it's just kind of distracted and derailed them a little bit, which I can't blame them. Starting 32nd. Yeah, I mean, we're probably looking at about an 18th, 19th place finish. Practice speeds are, I mean, they made some adjustments and they came out and fired off okay. Still not as fast as the top 10. So maybe like a 17th, 18th place finish here for Austin Dillon. The computer has it at 21. We'll bump it down a little bit. We'll give him 38.5. So. Oh, Cindric's your highest done? Yeah. I like the Cindric play. I like the Ross and Zilic play, or not Zilic. Yeah, Zilic and Ross play better than I like Cindric, but I'll have a decent amount of Cindric. But Austin Dillon, 38.5. I think it's just going to take some time for them to get the ship in the right direction again. They were almost there. Sucks for RCR. SVG starting in 10th. Practice speeds are 28th and 26th. SVG has a knack for, if he can start in the top 10 on an oval, he just runs top 10, sometimes even top 5. Well, he drives for Trackhouse. This is Trackhouse backyard. Ross runs really well here. Shane has, I mean, his practice speeds are normal Shane, actually. They're all over the place on ovals. It's kind of a little bit like Carson Hocevar. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, family man. He and I texted earlier this morning about SVG. I'll have some. It's not going to be a lot, though. SVG starting in 10th. Let's say he's able to hold 10th. And let's say he has 3 fast laps. The one, it's a 35.7. That's not going to be enough. He's going to need to get to at least 50, maybe 45. I mean, for him to do that, he's going to have to finish top 3 and only have 3 fast laps. But, I mean, if you get to 2nd, you're going to have more than that. But as you get to 5th, 45.7, that's going to get him close at 6,200. But I think, honestly, it's either 9th or it's going to be 30th. You have to pick and choose which medicine you're going to do. I'll leave it at 15th. I'm going to still have a little bit of ownership with SVG. I'm just not going to have a ton. All right, Michael McDowell. That were 2 hours and 20 minutes. I talked too much about AI and muting, kicking somebody off the stream. Now I know why people are moderators. That way you just be like, go away. Michael McDowell, 14th. Ooh, just, I don't think he gets any better than 14th. His practice speeds were at or worse than average. What's the calculator currently say with Michael McDowell? 22nd. I think that's probably, he maybe makes it to 19th. I'm going to lock him in at 19th. Just don't think it's Michael McDowell's just not great at this style of track. It's like he's not great at Dover. He's not great at Darlington. He's okay. He's not great. So, I mean, for DraftKings, I need him to be great, and I just don't see it. AJ Allmendinger starting in 3rd. Is that right? Is he really starting in 3rd? How did I miss this? Why is AJ started on here twice? Where's AJ starting? What the? My AI screwed up again. I swear to God, I'm going to beat this. Oh. I've got a free entry to the $20 burnout. Okay. I completely forgot about that. Where is AJ starting? I know he's not starting 3rd. AJ is starting 16th. Why does my AI have 3rd? That's dumb. High question is practice speeds. Was he 6th in the 9th? I think he was. Because AI actually pulls that from Nascar. So I trust that. I don't know why I put the starting spot there. That's weird. Oh well. It's fixed now. Thanks, Jake. Got there. Just took me a second. I mean, that's the problem is I was up till 2 a.m. fighting with the AI, and then I got up this morning and just was like, okay, let's go. And yeah, finding my errors. Usually I have time to proofread everything. AJ's practice speed's actually not bad. 16th. I think it's maybe a 12th place finish. He has been outperforming what his norm is. All right, so that needs to go to 16th. I will give him a 13th. I don't think he gets 11 fast laps. We'll leave him at 5 and give him the token 1. 36.6. We'll lock him in there. We'll move on to Austin Hill. I've tried to like Austin Hill. I really have. Every time I try to like him in the O'Reilly series, he just becomes an idiot. I don't think this is a good fit in the Cup series. I think he's just too aggressive. And just doesn't, I don't know. I guess if you don't have anything good to say, just don't say anything at all. Starting at 25th, I think we're looking at best 25th. We'll leave it there and just call it a day. I just don't think RCR needs to put Jesse Love in this car. If not, Jesse Love's going to go to a different team. Which I think Jesse Love would be really, really good for this team in the Cup Series. I think it's what it needs. It needs young energy. And I think he brings that. So, no offense to Austin. Sure, he's a great guy. But if you need a speedway driver, oh boy, Austin Hill is your man. All right, John Hunter Nemechek starting in 27th. 18th to 15th, okay. Driving a Toyota. That's a plus. It gives you a little benefit. His practice speeds on his first set and first run were average. made an adjustment, came in and fired off much better. I really can't say much better because it's about fastest lap was a 30.06 and he got a 30.09. About the same. Came out and fired off about the same. Seems to have held about the same. So, which I mean, still is okay. I mean, it's 15th and 18th. Put on the calculator and see where he falls. John Hunter starting in 27th. Who's average 30th? Ugh. I think he improves on that. Maybe not by much. Maybe it's a 19th. We'll give him 19th. We'll give him the token 1 and 1 and call it a day. Riley Herbst starting 23rd. Ooh. I mean, now the kid's fighting for his life, at least for his career in the Cup Series, because somebody else has got that ride for next year. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, half the races this year, 2311's had 4 cars. You know, maybe they keep Riley in a ride. Not sure. Starting 23rd, practice 11th, 13th, 13.8, 24th. Last year at this race, I think, honestly, this is probably about where you get. I think he starts and finishes in the low 20s. I mean, the computer says 32nd. We'll take him to 23rd. We'll give him the token 1 and 1, and we'll call it and go. All right. Family Man says 17th. 17th starting spot for AJ? No, it's 16th. I just went and looked at DraftKings. It's 16th. At least that's where he's going to be credited with starting is 16th. You're right, Jake. Okay. Yep. All good. Thank you, Family Man. Did you guys solve the HVAC problem over in Discord? I was going to check that out in a little bit. Ricky Stenhouse starting in 15th. Ricky's also one of those that kind of like SVG. If he can just start towards the front, he typically just runs towards the front. Yeah, I mean, Ricky's perfectly fine. His practice speeds were 17th and 17th. I honestly think this is as much of a similar call to like an SVG play. It's sneaky. It's not going to be super high owned, but I'm not expecting a whole lot of points from it. But it could potentially, at $5,500, help you have potentially 3 high-priced drivers and get somebody who doesn't need to do a whole lot other than almost finish and start where you're at. And 15th doesn't quite get you there. He's going to need to, let's see, give him the 2 fast laps and 1 lap led. I mean, 9th, 10th, and 11th would be close. We'll give him a 10th. What did I do? What did SVG get? 30.2. I think Ricky Stenhouse might have a little bit better shot, so we'll say 13, 34.2. But I'm probably going to run 4 or 5 lineups with Ricky in it. I'm probably going to run 4 or 5 lineups, different lineups with SVG. I won't be running them together. That'd be pretty ballsy. That you probably will stand out on your own by running an SVG Stenhouse lineup. Next in line here, Todd Gillen, 21st. He was 37th and 37th. What is wrong with the Fords? What is wrong with front row? Did they just must have unloaded bad. I mean, they'll be able to make some adjustments throughout the race, but God, are you already down a lap at that point? I mean, if we're running 30-second lap times and the leader's running a second faster than you, by lap 30, you're going a lap down. Starting 21st, I don't know. what's the calculator put him as an average? 26. I'll leave it there. We'll give him the token 1 lap led just in case something weird happens. Yeah, I don't like the practice speeds. I don't like the average finish of 21.8. It's 21st is where he's starting. At best, it's going to be finish and start where you're at. I mean, this again, front row, just unloaded bad. This is Noah's speeds. It's just bad. 34th and 32nd on the chart. Average, he finished 34th here last year, 23.4 average finish. Front row just missed the setup. And it's going to take them all race to get through that. So, yeah, we'll put old Noah on the chart. Why does my calculator only go down Ty Dillon? That's going to be fine. We don't need to go past Ty Dillon anyways. Because after that, it's... Cluster could have been on there. What is it? Am I missing it? Oh, there it is. I just didn't pull it up far enough. Oops. Okay. Figured it out. User error. Not the AI's fault this time. We'll leave him at 22nd, 25.9. It's not going to be enough to put him in anything. I might have a shot of Noah. I might have the problem is I think Todd Gillen's starting too far up to put a shot in. But I probably won't have very much of Noah. He's cheap, but I'd rather almost take a Ty Dillon starting in 30th. 27th and 34th. Practice speeds were about god awful. It's at this point can there be anything with attrition that helps these guys back here? Because it's not going to be speed, because Ty Dillon's speed is not anything to write about. It's about average. And if he's starting in 30th and you think he's going to get to 18th or 19th, that might play, but the averages are not in Ty's favor. It's 26. Can he get to 21st? He has a best of 15th. I think it's about a 22nd. We'll give him a 1-1. But 29.8. All right, Cole Custer. Cole Custer quietly has started to have a much better year. Just quietly. As long as he doesn't get wrecked or wreck himself, I guess that can be said for a lot of these guys. He ends up with decent finishing positions. Now his practice speeds look about god awful. That's not pretty at all. Starting in 20th, yeah, I think he's starting too far up. Yeah, I'm gonna leave him with the projected. We'll give him the 1-1 and be done. We'll lock that in. All right, next in line, Cody Ware. I'm not doing Chad Fincham. Chad Fincham was about awful. If you're waiting for the Chad Fincham breakdown, I'm not going to have one. Other than he's awful. I'm sure he's a nice guy. The equipment's awful. The ride, it's not worth it. Cody Ware starting in 34th. He only did 16 laps of practice, Cody. I was praising them a couple weeks ago. They were actually doing some practice. And, they must have had a problem, because this is just about... Ugh. That's not good. So yeah, I don't have any interest in Cody Ware either. Cody Ware, yeah, I'm going to lock that in. All right, we got everybody in. We got everybody done. There's my god-awful AI graphic that Buttface didn't like. I don't give a shit. All right, so now we have all 37. I'm not doing... What's his name? We go to rankings. All right, we've got Denny Hamlin, Connor Zilic, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson. Bubba does make my top 15. He's in there. So is Cindric, so is Hocevar, Priest. Then it becomes a little bit wonky. This is my my subcore would be Blaney, Gibbs, Brad, William Byron, a couple of those. Premium floor. What did this thing create? Premium floor. Oh, it's because it's $8,200. That's dumb. What is my AI doing? Don't highlight that crap. Okay. It's got only 4 drivers making the optimal. Whoops. I've figured that out. I mean, I think they actually hit over the threshold that they needed to hit. I think that's what it did. All right, so then we click download CSVs. We want to make sure that you do that prior to changing the page or going away. And I'm just going to minimize after that. But yeah, this has my list straight down, top to bottom. Who's my top? Who's my lower? And then we move on. Copilot has moved. Go away. But that gives you your CSV file. And that's where you can start to build from. It gives you what points that you put in to do it, but you don't have to use mine. You go make your own calculator. Just remember, don't leave that page or close that page because it goes away. See, watch. If I just go to the blog, I don't want to do that. Because I want to use this. So even though I saved the CSV file, so I've got it, but I don't really want to lose it. So I'm going to put it down there. Either way, join the Discord, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit all those things, do all those things, win a lot of money tonight, and be nice. Just be nice to people. All we ask, be nice. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the share, join the Discord, check out the website. If you've got thoughts, ideas that are actually constructive and not being a douchebag, hit me up on the Discord, hit me up in the chat. Love to hear it, love having conversations. Love having debates about different things, different drivers, all the different things. So either way, I'll be in the Discord tonight. If you want to jump in, join in, say hi. I do a kind of a 10 lap, or caution type things. It'll be in the Nashville content is where I'll be. But if you want to jump into the general chat, there's a bunch of conversations going on about HVAC units and things like that. So we talk about a lot of things, not just NASCAR, but it's part of the community. But Family says, this is where the race is won. Which one of these guys make optimal? Yep. And, I think you just have to run multiple lineups and run different storylines and then see what happens. And hopefully you put the right pieces together and you end up making money. But once again, like, subscribe, Discord down below, website down below, go have fun, play with it. Let me know your thoughts. Always looking to improve and make it better. Just be nice about it. All right. We will see everyone next. God, do I even say next Saturday? I was going to bring that up. It is wonky. The schedule next week is wonky. We are at Michigan next week. Let me pull the schedule for Firekeepers Casino 500. This is just wild. So we have on Friday, we have the ARCA race. And that's it. Okay. Saturday, there is no O'Reilly series. So it's just truck and cup. The truck series practices at 9:30 Michigan time, qualifying at 10:30. Then they do the truck race. The truck race is at 1:30. After that, we have practice at 5. Qualifying doesn't end till 7. Which is going to throw everything for a freaking haywire trying to get everything done and finished up for a 9 o'clock start next week. But then we have a 3 o'clock start the following day. So if I do anything, it has to be Saturday night. And if my AI decides to go wonky on me again, that could be a real long night or a real early morning. So stay tuned on the channel and stay tuned in Discord. I'll try to keep everyone updated. I forgot to update Discord about coming on this morning, but everybody figured it out. We're all here. So that's kind of the schedule for next week. So good luck. Let's see. Family says Stenhouse could get up to 7th and make optimal, I believe. I feel like it's always something crazy that always happens. Yeah. I mean, I still have my calculator going. Let's go back to the calculator. Can Stenhouse, you said 7th? Yeah. Stenhouse gets to 7th. He makes 45. That's probably going to be enough for the optimal, especially at $5,500. Absolutely. I would say that if he can get to 7th, I think that's almost an absolute lock. So, but he needs to get up to 7th. Possible. I'll play it. I'm not going to play it a ton. I'll play it though. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Sunday. It is absolutely just beautiful here and outside of Richmond, Virginia today. Like 73, 74 degrees, light breeze, sunshine. Go enjoy the sun, touch grass, play with your kids, wash your car, do whatever you're going to do, and lock in all your lineups and enjoy the race tonight. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We will see everyone next Saturday night, probably around 9 if I can get everything locked in. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Gentlemen, start your engines. 40 cars coming to life.
Can you still pace the field? Yep. Love it. Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W's, so gotta be around the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checkered. You're fine. Nobody's gotta run. Checker time, baby! Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the best car here, bud. Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job. Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend. What a weekend. Good job.